Well, we can no longer ever go to the Brecon Beacons again. The beautiful national park in Wales is being renamed over concerns that the word beacon is out of step with the fight against climate change. Shall we all just stop and have a moment, just have a deep sigh about the utter insanity and madness of that? Right, people are entitled to change the names and certainly entitled to have a name that represents the Welsh heritage. Of course, Bannau Brycheiniog, I think, roughly. I've probably offended a lot of people, not claiming to be very good on my Welsh, but let's talk to Faye Jones, who's a Conservative MP for Brecon and Radnorshire. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you, sir. I'm sure I mispronounced that. Would you mind very kindly telling us how it should be pronounced in Welsh?
Well, the new version is now Bannau Brycheiniog, which means the peaks of Brechan's kingdom. Brecon was a medieval king, a 5th century king. So it is actually the Welsh translation for Brecon Beacons.
Right, OK.
They've opted to go for.
Well, I can understand that, except, of course, most of us are not Welsh speakers. In fact, most people in Wales aren't Welsh speakers. A small point worth making. Now, these organisations, the National Park, they're entitled to check. They can call it a zoo if they want. We don't care. They're entitled to do that. It's the reason why they've done it. And as you, as the local MP, total shock to you, total shock to your constituents. No one consulted, no one asked about it. As far as you're aware, no one had a problem with it being called the Brecon Beacons.
No, it was a surprise move to me. I heard it on the Today programme yesterday morning. That was the first I'd heard of it. And that is my problem with it, to be honest. My issue is not the name, it's the consultation. I think, really, if you're going to do these things, you should talk to the people who live and work, like me, in the national park, because we're so much more than just a name. I think everybody who lives there is heavily invested in the area, and it's a part of our identity. I live in Brecon, which is the town right in the heart of what used to be known as the Brecon Beacons National Park. And I think there's a lot of people feeling slightly sad that we've lost that our connection is the capital of the Brecon Beacons. So I think the National Park really should have gone out to talk to people, to find out the views of ordinary working people who live and work in the National Park every day.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. This is the sort of thing you think, well, what was the point of this? But especially this idea that it's being renamed over concerns that the word beacon is out of step with the fight against climate change. I don't understand. Why is the word beacon a problem? They're saying we're an environmental organisation. We're trying to cut carbon and push to net zero. So having a carbon-burning beacon just isn't a good look. We've had awful wildfires over the last few years. So anything that kind of promotes that idea that fire in the landscape is a good thing made us feel that it probably wasn't the look we're going for. This is the Chief Executive, Catherine Mealing-Jones. Is she a complete idiot?
Well, I don't agree with that comment about the wildfires. I don't think anybody looked at the logo of the national park and was encouraged to set wildfires or to behave irresponsibly. As
if I see a listen, you know that the Conservative logo with that little fire, that flame. I honestly, every time I see it, I go and set fire to something. I mean, that's that's how it impacts on us.
I know. I mean, I to be honest, I think that element of it is ridiculous, frankly. But, the question of climate change in the national park, I would love for more people to come to Brecon, to the national park, to see what farmers and environmentalists are actually doing, because I think we are at the forefront of the fight against climate change. If you come and see it, it's stunning. Rolling green hills, incredibly rich in biodiversity. The farmers that I work with are working incredibly hard to deliver for nature. So for the national park to suddenly turn around and say, hold on, we don't think you're helping in the fight against climate change, I think that's a little bit of a slap in the face to those of us who actually live there.
Indeed. I mean, look, there's also just an element where, Brecon Beacons is, we've all heard of the Brecon Beacons, and then some people might go, people have never heard of Bannau Brycheiniog. I think that's going to make it less of a tourist destination. And actually, one of the things is, yes, there is that balance between beautiful, beautiful scenes of natural beauty and not having too many visitors, ruining it and littering and crowding it out and all the cars being parked. But they also provide a lot of employment. The local hotels, the local restaurants and pubs making shops making money. They're going to put off a lot of tourists, I think.
Well, I was talking to my fiancé last night. He works away, he's in the army, and he said, when I left for work this morning, I could pronounce where we live, and now I can't. And I think he has a very fair point. There's lots of people now who are going to have to adjust to this new identity. fine. You know, perhaps the national park could have consulted on that to make that a little bit easier. There are lots of business owners who are now contacting me saying, well, my branding is based around beacons. So do I remove that? So, you know, look, I think we could have thought about this as a community. The national park could have tried to come to everyone who lives and works there and say, look, what do you think? What do you want this to be? It's your national park as well. And, you know, what I would now love to see is let's have a referendum. Ask the community. If they want to endorse this name change, then great. Then we'll move on. But I think we can't be doing things to the communities that we are supposed to be serving. We need to be talking to them and working with them.
Absolutely. Couldn't talk more sense. Faye Jones, Tory MP for Brecon and Radnorshire, thank you very much indeed for that.